When a gatekeeper tells you no, create your own lane. So, what that means is if somebody is denying you for a promotion, if somebody is denying you of getting on a TV show, whatever it is, don't keep knocking on that same door. Don't try to find more doors to knock on. Figure out how you create your door, create your own lane, create your own path, do it on your own. We're living in the age of the internet where you can literally do anything on your own. You can start an online store, you can start a YouTube channel, you can do a lot on your own, and the resources are accessible for you. So, next time a gatekeeper tells you no, step back, think about it, think about what you really want, and release the exact outcome that you want, and really think about what is going to fulfill you as a person, and try to figure out how you could do it on your own.
I'm Junaid Ahmed, host of Hacks and Hobbies podcast and a digital presence advisor at HumbleZone. This episode is brought to you by Home Studio Mastery. I launched a consultation and course program to help podcasters and course creators to create a space in their homes that'll reduce the friction of creating content and appearing their best when showing up on camera. The pandemic gave us a lot of issues, but this one is here to stay. We're now so much closer to our audience thanks to video becoming more popular and affordable. I help guide folks who want to create Hollywood-worthy studios to not only capture great content, but also build more confidence, more authority, and be more comfortable in front of the camera. If I can do it, you can too. And with my help, you can do it faster. So if you'd like to learn more, visit homestudiomastery.com and how you too can create a home studio that brings out your personality, professionalism, and possibilities. Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life who want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. Today, we get to speak with Hala Taha, dubbed the Podcast Princess, who's the host of Young and Profiting Podcast, frequently ranked as #1 education podcast across all apps. Hala is also the founder and CEO of Yap Media, a social media and podcast marketing agency for top podcasters, celebrities, and CEOs. She's well known for her engaged following and influence on LinkedIn, and she landed the January 2020 cover of Podcast Magazine. Hala started her career in radio production while in college at Hot 97. She has 7 years of corporate marketing experience at HP and Disney streaming services. She started Young and Profiting Podcast and Yap Media as a side hustle, scaling the business to 35 plus employees before quitting her executive position at Disney to take the leap into entrepreneurship. Yap Media is now a premier white glove social media and podcast production agency for CEOs, celebrities, and top podcasters with a dozen high-profile clients and nearly 60 employees. Young and Profiting Podcast is a top 300 podcast globally, and Hala has interviewed star-studded guests from the likes of Matthew McConaughey, Deepak Chopra, Dave Asprey, Seth Godin, and countless others. With the success of growing and monetizing her own show, Hala launched the Yap Media Podcast Network in January of 2022, the only podcast network with a specialization in both the growth and monetization of podcasts. Hala is expert on networking, personal branding, leadership, social media, side hustles, entrepreneurship, and podcasting. Absolutely excited to bring Hala to the podcast, so let's dig right in. Hala, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, Hala Taha is the host of the Young and Profiting Podcast, and she's built an entire empire around it. It's pretty amazing, and I'm so excited to bring her onto the podcast. We got to work together a few months ago, and I was like, hey, I would love to bring you on because you took a side hustle and literally made it a multi-million-dollar business, right? And that's something that I've been looking at other people's and the people that I'm bringing on the podcast, discovering their journey. So I would love if you could share a little bit of your journey and how you got started and what's going on.
Oh, wow. That's a very, this question could take 30 minutes to answer, but I will do my
I love
best.
it.
So I started my career in radio. In college, I had an internship at Hot 97. And so I actually worked there for 3 years for free. And I ended up getting let go after 3 years when I asked for a paying job. I was fired from a job I wasn't even getting paid to do. And then I was, looking to kind of not be blackballed from the hip hop industry. So I started a website and it was
Mm.
called the Sorority of Hip Hop.com. And I was president of the Sorority of Hip Hop. That went really well. Within 3 months, we were one of the most popular entertainment and news sites in the world. We also recruited about 50 girls and we were getting scouted by MTV. And so I did that for about 3 years. All the while through Hot 97 and the Sorority of Hip Hop.com, I had online radio shows. So I
Mm.
was honing my chops as a personality, interviewing Fabulous, Soldier Boy, all these different like hip hop artists. And then, 3 years into the Sorority of Hip Hop, we were hosting parties, and that's pretty much how we made our money. And MTV reached out. They wanted to have a reality TV show with us. They filmed us all summer and they got us
Wow.
a studio on Broadway. And I'm going over super high level. So you can dig in
Hmm.
deep wherever you want me to stop. But I'm just going to go
Absolutely.
5 minute story into
Yeah.
like how I got to where I am today. So MTV shot us all summer. And I thought I was going to be the next Snooki. It was right after Jersey Shore ended. And so it was like MTV was looking for their next big hit. I was the lead in the show, getting paid 3 times as much as everybody else.
Mm.
And I finally thought I had made it. I worked for free for 3 years at Hot 97. I didn't get the job in radio. And then I had this sorority of hip hop being an entrepreneur and really led this movement in the tri-state of young females in the entertainment industry. And then MTV pulled the plug last minute. They never told me why they didn't want to air the show, but they said, Hala, we're changing direction. I'm sorry. I got nothing out of it. And then I was crushed. And I thought
Mm.
I'd never get back on a mic. I thought my career was over. I thought 6 years, I'm so behind everybody, all my peers. I'm not making any money. I don't know what to do. And so I decided I'd go back to school. I went and got my MBA. I went into corporate and I literally just thought I was going to be a normal person. And so I worked at Hewlett Packard for 4 years. 4 years into it, I'm not going to get into the details, but I didn't get a position that I wanted at Hewlett Packard. And it was an internal position for an employment resource group. I was like going to be president of the Young Employee Network. And I didn't get that position, even though I earned it.
Hmm.
And at that point, I decided I was never going to let a gatekeeper get in my way again. And I started Young and Profiting Podcast. That was April of 2018. We blew up on LinkedIn first. Then the podcast blew up. Then I got on the cover of Podcast Magazine, interviewed Matthew McConaughey. And in May of 2020, my father passed away, and that triggered me to launch my media agency, Yap Media, which I run now. I have 60 employees. And then this past January, I launched Yap Media Podcast Network. So that's my 5 minute story. And it's a lot.
Well, I love every single. I mean, you made it really concise, so we can dig in deeper in each section, in each part of that journey. Because what I see is that, and you said it yourself, right? You kept getting denied what
Hmm.
you wanted because even though you put in the work, but that's the case with everything, right? That's the case everywhere. You gotta really do it for yourself if you really want to build something that you want,
Hmm.
right? You expect other people to give you because you put in the work. I mean, the work for free. I mean, Gary Vee says, "Go whatever you want to do. Go work for 90 days for free." Right? You gave them
Hmm.
3 years. That's
I know,
insane.
I know. And I've worked for free so many times in my life, and I still work for free.
Mm-hmm.
I recently worked for free for Jordan Harbinger so he would become my mentor and it worked
Yeah.
out great. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think working for free is not bad,
No.
but expecting somebody to open doors for you and to think that there's some sort of guarantee for doing
Mm-hmm.
something that's never the case.
No.
People will make those they just might not like you. It might not even be personal. It just might be that the position's not available. It's not the right time. I love to control my destiny, and that's why I
Mm-hmm.
love being an entrepreneur now. because I feel like I have
Amen.
full control of my life. But that's not to say, gatekeepers are important. Like a lot of
Absolutely.
people have open doors for me, but you've got to know when to play that card.
No, 100%. You're right on the money on that. I mean, obviously, gatekeepers will not open the door. It's not if either you're overpowering them or they feel like they're getting threatened, they're like, no, no, no. And that's a lot of the case that's the things that are going to happen when they feel threatened. They're like, no, we can't let you in because you might take my job, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot of jealousy, and it's
Hmm.
just like they're mixing personal with business. And like I said, it might not have anything to do with you or your
Yeah,
skills or whatever. They might just be having a bad day. That's why being an entrepreneur, controlling your own destiny, creating your own path, your own lane is so important to me.
absolutely. So I love that part, right? So you went and created your own lane. You started the hip hop sorority
Hmm.
website.
Yes.
The beautiful part that I love there is like you brought a team together,
Yeah.
right? Without a team, you could be and you can call yourself self entrepreneur all day, but if you don't have a team backing you up, you're going to be sitting right where you started from day one.
Yeah, and I have to say that the reason why I was able to scale a side hustle specifically, the reason why I was able to work full time at Disney while I was launching my podcast and then eventually my agency was because by episode 2, I had my first volunteer. By episode 8, I had 10 volunteers in a Slack channel, people who worked for free. Like
Mhm.
2 months into the podcast, I had 10 volunteers. Like, it's crazy. I think back at it and I was like, was nobody else podcasting in 2018? Like, why did 10 people wanna work for free for me? But
Mhm.
it's because if you enjoy what you do and you've got, like, the passion for it, you have a magnetic energy and people are
Yeah.
just attracted to you. And I have to say, I think that's one of my secret sauces is the fact that in every endeavor, the Sorority of Hip Hop, yeah, media, even when I was at HP, I was running something called the Young Employee Network. I was president of my alumni association. Same thing. I always like can attract people to volunteer for what I'm doing because they
Mhm.
just feel so aligned. And it's just like a little knack that I have is recruiting people and motivating them.
I'm sure if we go further back into your life, there's a lot of inkling of you running teams or you running
Oh yeah.
other people.
Oh, since I was a little girl. I used to like rally like the neighborhood and like start like slushy stands, or
Mhm.
I would sell art and like contract out all my like cousins to like make art and then like sell it to the parents. Like I was always doing things like that. And I think to your point, you
Mhm.
learn a lot of those skills when you're a kid,
Yes.
and some of these things are just natural abilities. Not everybody I think has that ability. For me, it comes very naturally.
Mhm. Mhm. Because as a very young kid, like even your parents probably like, "Oh, this is so awesome. How are you doing?" Right? They're rallying, they're encouraging you. And when
Mhm.
you have that encouragement, that cheerleader around you, like, "Oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing." And that's what you're continuing to doing to this day.
Yeah, and then the funny part is that if you have those certain skills that are natural abilities, like for example, when I started Young and Profiting podcast, I said I only want to do it by myself because I was so scarred from having like
Mhm.
150 girls in and out of the sorority of hip hop. It was very catty and dramatic. And I was like, I never want to have a big team again. Like, this is just me,
Yeah.
myself. And then, like, 2 months later, I had 10 people that were working on the show because it's just, that's my destiny.
Mhm. I love that. I love that. So you went from building that network to then launching your own podcast, and now you've got your own podcast network.
Yeah.
What has kept you motivated throughout each iteration or each chapter of your fandom journey?
I think success, motivation is just having these small wins along the way and
Mhm.
recognizing those small wins and celebrating them. Because once you get good at something and you become an expert at it and you know everything about it, and people start asking you questions and looking for feedback from you, that's just like dopamine in your brain. You're like, I'm doing a good job. I'm doing a good
Mhm.
job. And you just want to keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
So, actually, that's called the motivation feedback loop. I learned that from Jeff Hayden, and that's what I feel like really kept motivating me along the way is because I gave the effort and the work needed to really learn the industry inside and out. And then I just kept getting small wins, like whether that was growing my following on LinkedIn or landing a sponsor or landing a huge guest. It was all those little small wins that kept me going. But I have to say, the first 2 years of Young and Profiting Podcast was slow growth. Like most people would have quit. I have to
Yeah.
say, most people would have quit because
Mm-hmm.
my downloads were at 3 or 4 thousand downloads a month for like years, two
Mm-hmm.
years. I from the start, it started that high and then like
Yeah.
never really went anywhere. And then I got creative and I leveraged what I had grown, which was my LinkedIn profile. And
Yeah.
then that's really what accelerated everything.
Beautiful. I love that. So you, I think the key thing that we should take away right here is you kept working at it, right? A lot of
Consistency.
people,
Hmm.
consistency, like people will quit, like, oh, this is not doing it. I've been podcasting for 3 months and I'm not getting the downloads. I can't get the people that I want.
I have to say, the other reason why I stayed motivated is because I had and this is also why I think I attracted a team. I had
Mm-hmm.
really pure intentions, like
Yeah.
super pure intentions. I had failed so much as like a young entrepreneur. And then I was making it in corporate. In corporate, I rocked it and I got promoted 5 times in 5 years. So I was making my first 6 figures. I was really successful. I thought I was going to be behind in corporate, but in fact, I hopped, skipped, and jumped over my colleagues that were my age.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I felt like I had something to give back. Like, oh my gosh, I want to teach, that 25-year-old who's struggling right now. I want to let them know that, like, you can change your life in a couple of years and everything can turn around. And, like, you don't need to give up on your dreams and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And I never thought I would make money off the podcast. I thought my career was my corporate job and my podcast was
Mm-hmm.
a hobby that I
Yeah.
ran with volunteers. And I just had these pure intentions and the listeners were attracted to that because I just wanted to give back. I wasn't selling anything.
Mm-hmm.
For 2-3 years, all I did was grow my community and not sell a thing. And so that's very attractive. And that also helped me to keep going because it wasn't about getting sponsors and getting millions of downloads. It was about reaching out to my 4,000 fans, 5,000 fans and changing their lives. And I have
Yeah.
to say when I was that the other thing is even though I was a small podcast, my fans were so obsessed with the show. I
Mm.
would get like DMs on top of DMs about how I'm changing their lives. And so that was really rewarding too.
I love that. I love that you build a community, you show up with intention, you give it all you've got, right? You put your heart into it, you do the work and you get results,
Yeah.
right? You do the work, get results. I keep telling people, look at the hare and the tortoise race, right? You might have all the skills, right? The hare had the skills to run the race and be the winner,
Hmm.
but the tortoise had the consistency.
Yeah.
Even though it was slow, it just kept going, and it's always gonna win no matter what you do.
Yeah, and I was consistent. It's like at first it was an episode a month. Then I decided, all right, I can do two a month. I can do 4 a month now. I can do 8 a month now. And
Mm-hmm.
I never went back. Once I decided like I was about to scale it up, whatever it was, I'm going to do LinkedIn posts every day. I'm going to do this
Mm-hmm.
every day. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I never stopped. There was no gap.
Yeah.
So many people like take breaks. They're like, oh, like I'm going to take the summer off. It's like, okay, then you don't care about this. Cause like if you did, you wouldn't leave your listeners with nothing to listen to.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's really powerful, and I'm in that boat because I'll be behind on some episodes, and I'm like, oh, I'll come back and finish it up. But you're right. You got to be consistent because it's not you're not only doing it for yourself. And I feel like that I'm doing this podcast for myself. It's a selfish reason I'm learning from learning from Hala. I'm learning from um, Angel. I'm learning from all the folks that are brought on because I want to grow. But it's also the listener. I'm also, they're also learning from it. So there's some mindset shift that I got to make yet still.
Yeah.
All right. So we've been learning a ton from Hala Taha here on the podcast. And the key ingredient that we've been looking for, it's always been in front of us, right? You got to put in the reps. You got to keep coming back. You got to keep showing up. You got to grow 1% at a time, 1% day, every day.
Hmm.
and it's beautiful, like the story that the journey that you've been on, and there's so much more farther you go, right? So you built the tell us a little bit about the Young and Profiting podcast network.
Oh, okay, sure. So, like I mentioned, I started a podcast agency. And the reason why I started my podcast agency, it was actually the first way that I monetized my show. So, I would have guests that would come on my show, and they were all authors, CEOs, celebrities, and they'd always ask me, "Hala, how did you grow your LinkedIn channel?" And I'd tell them, "Oh, I have a volunteer team. They do my video. I train them how to do videos. Like I can video edit. I'm a marketer. I was in corporate marketing." And then they would say, "Well, how about your podcast? Like, how'd you grow your podcast?" And, I used to be in radio and I taught my team and now I have a producer and all that kind of stuff. One
Mm-hmm.
thing led to another. And these people ended up becoming my clients. Actually, Heather Monahan basically like forced me to take her on as a client. And she was my first client. Now I run all her stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got 20 huge clients all around the world. And we've got 60 people at Yap Media. So I grew 3 other podcasts to my size. And that's through media buying and social media strategies and just being creative and having great content. And I started to learn how to monetize my show. And
Mm,
everything that I do, I always do for myself first. And then I ended up
of course.
scaling it out to my clients. So I started
Mm-hmm.
to fully monetize my show. Then I started to monetize Jason Waller and Kara Golden's show and Heather Monahan. And then eventually we were all sold out of inventory. And I had all this brand from other agencies and different brands. And so I started recruiting other shows that already had a following that I wasn't necessarily producing
Mm-hmm.
and helping them monetize and grow their shows. So I started the Young and Profiting Podcast Network, or the Yap Media Network. And now we're about 7 exclusive shows, maybe 20 in total, exclusive and non-exclusive. I know it's a little technical, but
Mm-hmm.
it's been amazing. Like, I love it. If you had asked me 4 years ago when I launched Young and Profiting Podcast, where are you going to be in 5 years? I
Yeah.
swear I said we're going to have the biggest network in the world. And
Mm-hmm.
now 4 years into it, I just launched the network. It's like crazy to think that like this is literally what I dreamed of
Yeah.
4 years ago. And I'm right on track. I can't even believe it. And the
It's
and the
amazing.
agency was just what people wanted from me. It wasn't actually in the plans. It's just sometimes you've got to pivot and adapt to what the market wants.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So, guys, let's take a quick break. Hala's going to share with us 3 hacks to take away that you can apply in your lives, in your business immediately. So, we'll be right back. I'm Junaid Ahmed, host of Hacks and Hobbies podcast and a digital presence advisor at HumbleZone. This episode is brought to you by Home Studio Mastery. I launched a consultation and course program to help podcasters and course creators to create a space in their homes that will reduce the friction of creating content and appearing their best when showing up on camera. The pandemic gave us a lot of issues, but this one is here to stay. We're now so much closer to our audience thanks to video becoming more popular and affordable. I help guide folks who want to create Hollywood-worthy studios to not only capture great content, but also build more confidence, more authority, and be more comfortable in front of the camera. If I can do it, you can too. And with my help, you can do it faster. So if you'd like to learn more, visit homestudiomastery.com and how you too can create a home studio that brings out your personality, professionalism, and possibilities.
Okay.
Welcome back, guys. If you've been listening, we have been talking with Hala Taha and having so much fun learning about her journey, as well as the secrets to what it takes to really build a behemoth of a network or behemoth of a podcast, whatever it is that you're thinking about doing. These are the secret ingredients that Hala has been executing and implementing in her own life and business. So Hala, take it away. Share with us 3 hacks to take away that we can use in our lives.
Yeah. So this works perfectly because my story really connects with these 3 hacks. So number 1 is when a gatekeeper tells you no, create your own lane. So what that means is if somebody is denying you for a promotion, if somebody is denying you of getting on a TV show, whatever it is, don't keep knocking on that same door.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to find more doors to knock on. Figure out how you create your door, create your own lane, create your own path, do it on your own. We're living in the age of the internet where you can literally do anything on your own. You can start an online store, you can start a YouTube channel, you can do a lot on your own, and the resources are accessible for you. So, next time a gatekeeper tells you no, step back, think about it, think about what you really want, and release the exact outcome that you want, and really think about what is going to fulfill you as a person, and try to figure out how you could do it on your own rather than, doing this exact route that has basically a checkpoint that you can't get through.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, an example of that was I didn't get the job at Hot 97. Really, all I wanted to do was be a voice of my generation in the hip hop space. And so I created the Sorority of Hip Hop, and I did that, and I created a blog, and then I had a platform, and then I was shouted out on the radio more than when I was actually working there. And so it's like you just like hop, skip, and jump over and make leaps and bounds to your goals when you have it's almost like the fast lane,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Yeah.
creating your own lane, and it's basically like turbocharging your success because you have control. There's no more, stop signs. You just can go. And
Right.
so that's the first one. Number 2 is to discover your talent stack. So the key to this is to have experiences. A lot of people go through their life and they're on this like education track. All my siblings are examples of this. I have 3 siblings, they're all doctors, and none of them worked. And I was the opposite. I had a job since I was 12, and I would beg my parents to like they probably were so annoyed, like, I don't want to drive you to work, like for your stupid like $5 an hour job. And I would like force everybody to take me to work all the time. And so I loved working odd jobs. So like I was a gift wrapper, I was a shampoo girl, I worked in the mall, like I was a salesperson. Then I worked at the radio station, then I worked in corporate, like, and I got all these social media skills. I got video
Mm-hmm.
editing skills, graphic design skills. I learned how to build a website. I was in production. I learned how to be an on-air personality. I learned how to interview. I learned how to do research, right? And I learned how to recruit a team. I learned how to lead. I learned how to organize, project manage. And it was just because I took those opportunities, whether paid or free, to learn and learn new
Yes.
skills. And then when the time came for me to launch Young and Profiting Podcast, I was so much ahead of all the other podcasters. And so from episode 1, if you go listen back to my episode number 1, it's a masterpiece because
Mm-hmm.
I did it all by myself, and I was like a great audio engineer. I was a great, I was a great researcher. I was a great narrator. And not to toot my own horn, but it was because it was many reps to get there. It wasn't my
Amen.
first episode. It was like my 500th episode on my
Exactly.
5th show, you know?
Yeah.
So I developed this talent stack. Now, then again, with being the CEO of my marketing agency, it was a talent stack that I developed. I was a leader. I had 7 years of corporate marketing experience. I had every role on the marketing team. I knew how to hack social media. I hacked Twitter. I hacked LinkedIn. I knew how to hack podcasts. I knew how to create great, like, I put all these skills together
Mm-hmm.
and became the perfect CEO of my marketing agency. And I designed my dream career. Now, with my podcast network, I learned how to monetize my show. I learned how to get sponsorships. I learned the distribution channels. I learned how to recruit podcasters, keep them happy. I learned like all this kind of stuff, and I
Yeah.
put it together and I launched my network. But it was all because I had the right experiences. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't just like everything that I do, I always know exactly what to do because I prepared myself well enough to actually have the talent stack to build
Yeah.
it. Now, here's the key. I learned about talent stacking from Scott Adams. He is the cartoonist behind Dilbert.
Dilbert. Oh my God.
Okay.
Amazing.
And so he has a talent stack. And this is a great way to like put it all in perspective for everything, for everyone. Because it's not about being the best at anything. It's being
Mhm.
good at many things. So he's funny guy, really funny guy. He's an okay illustrator and cartoonist. He knows a lot about business. He spent a lot of time in corporate. So he had this like business and like tech world. He knew about the tech world.
Yeah.
And those were his skills. And he could write, right? So he put all those things together. Like I said, he wasn't the best at either of them, but he put them all together and he became the best cartoonist in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with me. I'm not the best podcaster in the world. I'm sure like Tim Ferriss is technically better than me, but I'm a freaking killer marketer, and I've got other skills. I'm a great researcher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm charismatic. Put all those things together, I'm an amazing podcaster.
Yeah.
So, develop your talent stack and really think about your skills and what you're strongest at. Put those things together even if you're not the best in the world at each one of them. Put them together and come up with your dream career. You will be so successful, right?
I love
So,
that.
develop your talent stack. And lastly, the last thing, if you want to be successful, in my opinion, your secrets to profiting in life is that life is limitless. You have to believe this. If
Mm-hmm.
you're a pessimist and you believe that life sucks and woe is me and nothing is possible and you don't have the right mindset, none of this works.
Mm-mm.
You have to believe that life is limitless. And the other thing that you need to do is like fear your death to a degree and realize that life is short, but life is limitless. And so that gives you the motivation. So Robert Greene, he wrote The Laws of Human Nature. He taught me about the law of death denial. And basically what that means is that most people fear their death, and so much so that they don't even think about their death. They
Mm.
avoid the thought of their death, and they just keep on going on the hamster wheel as if they're never going to die. But when somebody dies, so for me, it was my father died of COVID out of nowhere in May of
Mm-hmm.
2020. I was doing so well. I was an executive at Disney. I had a number one podcast. I was already on the cover of no, I wasn't on the cover of Podcast. I had a great podcast. It wasn't that huge yet, but I was doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was an influencer on LinkedIn, and I had a great executive position. Anybody would have been happy because it's like I literally have like a little bit of fame. Like I'm
Yeah.
famous on LinkedIn. I've got a great executive job. I have a great relationship. I could have just been like, that's it. I don't need to do more.
Yeah.
But my father died, and I realized I was playing small, and I was like, wait, I'm supposed to be like way bigger than this. What am I doing? Like I should just jump right into what I want to do for the rest of my life, which is be the host of Young and Profiting podcast and follow my dreams. And so that triggered me to realize that life is too short to play so small. And I really believed that life was limitless, and I launched my company and I quit my job shortly after.
Man, holy that was beautiful. Those
Thanks.
amazing hacks, and you're absolutely right. You're right. You got to think limitless. You got to think abundance. There's enough people in the world to be all on the top of the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you put in the time and the energy to get to the top, guess what? There's got other people are going to be on the way. They're going to help you along the way. Right?
Yeah.
And that's something people don't realize. You got to find the communities that are going to help you excel and go above and beyond.
Oh, 100%. I could have not done this on my own, whether it was my team, whether it was the other podcasters that I connected with, whether it was my mentor, Jordan Harbinger, whatever it was. Like people are important along the way. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want anybody to think that it's just you,
Oh, no.
but you are in control of your life.
Amen. You got to put that boat in the water for the rising tide to raise it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You got to put in the work to get it out there.
And the more work and passion that you have, the more that people will be motivated to come along the journey.
Amen. Man, I'm blown away. Thank you, Hala, for
Of course.
sharing the 3 hacks. They're literally the best ones so far we've had. Okay. Guys,
Thanks.
this has been so much fun talking with Hala Taha, sharing her journey, the host of Young and Profiting. I can see the name of her podcast written behind her. If you're listening to this episode, go check out the podcast on YouTube. You'll see the amazing studio she's sitting in. And now we're going to jump into the section where we ask these fun little questions that we've asked all our guests along the way. So, are you ready for this?
Let's go.
Let's do this. What is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
Meditation. I don't know why I
Ooh.
could never get into meditation. I'm so bad. I have had so many episodes and I still don't meditate.
Well, Hala, meditation. So, one of the guests that I was speaking with, meditation doesn't mean that you just sit quietly and just do right. That's not meditation. That's one version of meditation. So maybe when we do our podcast, that is our meditation.
I think that's exactly like, I take baths. I love to work out. I like, smoke a little weed sometimes.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's my meditation,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah,
But it's so hard. I feel like I don't meditation is so weird. I feel like it's such a weird concept because I feel like nobody really understands what meditation is. And it's
yeah.
just like a lot of people talking about meditation, but it's
Right.
not very clear. And I've done many episodes and I'm not, an idiot, but
No, of course
I
not.
still don't understand meditation that much.
Absolutely. It's yeah, I can't explain it either, but every person has a different type of version of meditation. For example, my meditation is when I'm building these Lego sets, right? So I'm sitting like I've got the Back to the Future car over here. So when I'm sitting and doing this on my own, that's my version of meditation. I've got some music going, I'm
Is that
focusing on it.
really meditation though?
Of course it is because you're letting your mind do the important stuff. So when you're taking a bath, you're relaxing. You're relaxing your mind, right? You're not constantly thinking about things, but at least that's my version of meditation. There's no right way to drive a car. I mean, there's
Well,
but there's no right way of creating a beautiful podcast, right? Every
hmm
person has a different way of doing it. So yeah, I think I take liberty in saying that's what meditation is supposed to be. So you're doing all right, buddy.
thanks.
Next question. What did you want to be when you were a child?
Ooh, I thought I was going to be a singer. So my
Ooh.
whole life I've had the same theme. I want to use my voice for good.
Mm,
So when I was younger, I was confused or I had this one certain outcome. Again, it's like don't be attached to the outcome. Think about what
yeah.
really fulfills you. And so I always wanted to be a singer because I had a
Mm.
great voice. And then like when I was 19, 20 at Hot 97, I was like, "Oh, like I'm good, but I'm not that good. I better I better change my my direction a little."
I love it. Love it. All right, next question. What is your favorite movie or TV show?
I love Shark Tank. So
Okay.
Shark Tank is by far my favorite TV show. I've watched every season and I don't really watch too much TV other than that. I love watching movies, date
Mm-hmm.
nights, but other than that, I don't watch any TV and that's one of the reasons why I was able to have a side hustle and
Yeah.
scale it.
You put the time into the right area
Mhm.
of your life and you will have massive amounts of time.
Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes usually about 10 to 14 hours a week to have a side hustle.
Yeah.
That's on average.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours a day of TV, turn that into side hustle time. You got 14
Yeah.
hours a week.
That's hack number 4, guys. Check that out. We're just giving you 14 hours a week just out of nowhere.
Yep.
Awesome. Next question. What movie would you choose if you got to play a character in it?
Oh man, this is not going to be a good one because I'm like, again, I'm not like a big TV movie person.
It's fine. It's okay.
Probably that Reese Witherspoon one where she's like a lawyer. Definitely that one.
Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
All right.
Legally blonde, 100%. Legally brunette.
All right. We're gonna put that. We're gonna put that out in the world, and guess what? We're gonna have a movie called Legally Brunette where you're gonna be starring. Okay. Just got to put it out there. Next question. Who is your favorite superhero?
Oh, my favorite superhero. I would say like Catwoman. So like
Mm-hmm.
some female superhero.
Okay.
Give some
Catwoman's
feminine love.
Catwoman's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, we've been talking a lot about Rogue from X-Men
Mm.
because she has the power of absorbing other people's energies, and she has her own power.
Well, that's
Or
pretty cool.
even Captain Marvel. I mean, she's like limitless energy made out
Oh,
of
I love
energy.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't know enough about superheroes, so I just went for the easy one, but those two sound way better.
We'll put you in for Captain Marvel.
Okay.
All
Captain
right.
Marvel it is.
Last question. If you were a board game, what would it be?
Ooh, my favorite board game is Categories. I freaking crush in Categories. So anybody wants to play me, you let me know.
All right, we'll let the people know this category champion is right here on Hacks and Hobbies podcast. Oh my God. Hala, thank you so much for your time and energy and sharing your wisdom. This has been a truly an amazing episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Janaid. It was my pleasure.
And where can my audience find you? I know we've talked
Oh
about this a
boy.
lot.
So I would say go and search Young and Profiting Podcast on your favorite podcast platform. I've interviewed Matthew McConaughey. Deepak
Mhm.
Chopra's coming out. I'm interviewing Wim Hof on Tuesday. Ed Milet next week. We're going to have so many great episodes coming out. I do my research. It's an amazing show. If you want to learn how to grow your influence, if you want to learn how to be an entrepreneur, start a side hustle, learn some marketing hacks, this is the show. It's called Young and Profiting, and make sure you go search it, subscribe, and listen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I like that so much more concise call to action than what I tell people. Oh, just go blah 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 over here and over here and over here. But I think that takes the cake. And thank you so much for
Of
sharing,
course.
because now that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
All right, Hala, thank you again so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to this Hacks and Hobbies episode. Junaid would love to hear from you, so please leave a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts. Visit hacksandhobbies.com to find additional information on the guest today, as well as the show notes.